Yeah.
First of all, I was asked to announce that if some Bachrim wanted other people to do Q&A from time to time officially, so if you want any Anhola member to do Q&A, or if you want him to answer a specific question, you can write his name on the paper, and then there will be enough papers with one person's name, then we'll give him the honors. Or Talmidim. All right. After you go to the bathroom, do you need to wash 3 times or eat on each hand, or is it getting them wet enough? How about before davening and after cutting your nails? So, in Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Siman Daled Seif Yud Ches, Alter Rebbe writes, Eilu dvarim shein tzrichin netila b'mayim dafka. The following things you have to specifically use water. V'lei b'chol midi demenaki. You can't just go like this to clean your hands. Just that's right. Remember. Aval ein tzarich la'aris al yodav gimel kon. But these following things you do not have to wash 3 times. Eilu hein. He has a list, and then he says, one of the things are hachayletz min. I'm sorry. The first thing is hayetzim beis hakisei. So leaving the bathroom, you do not have to wash 3 times. And then he says, va'noitel tziparlo. Someone that cuts his nails also does not have to wash 3 times. And he says that that's basically a whole bunch of other things. So those 2 particular things, Alter Rebbe clearly writes, you don't have to do 3 times. It's enough to wash your hands and make them wet. Regarding before davening, so it's not over here, different place, but before Shachris you have to wash 3 times, but that we do by Negel Wasser in the morning, and that works for davening as well. Before Mincha and Ma'ariv, it's enough just to wash your hands. You do not have to do 3 times. However, the Rebbe's minhag is the Rebbe also before Mincha and Ma'ariv have to wash 3 times. In 70, they bring the Rebbe a shisel, the kvar to his place to wash before davening. So that's the Rebbe's minhag, and many chassidim adopt the minhag as well. But according to halacha, that's not necessary.
So there's no hinder of washing by Shayeta?
It could be there is, but the Rebbe doesn't bring it. I didn't see. I saw about. I saw for nails. I saw a hiddur, but the Rebbe doesn't say it. So I don't know. Could you explain me such a thing? But I didn't hear it.
Wait, you have to make a bracha before washing your hands, just like.
Well, you only make a bracha in the morning and before hametz. But you're supposed to wash other times as well. But then you don't make a bracha. Will a miscarriage have tchias hamesim? So this question was asked at Moshe Feinstein. It looks like there was a bacher that his parents, his mother miscarried many times after he was born, and his mother adopted another child. So he was wondering if is he ever going to have biological brothers? I think that's what seems like the question. So Rabbi Moshe writes to him, B'dvar she'iloscha, im nefolim yukumun ksheyav izman tchias hamesim b'mehera. So he says, Ravina, who was a Basra, meaning is one of the last Amiroim, that means Allah is like him, writes says in Masechta Sanhedrin, the Gemara says, Koton me'em asaybo le'lam haba, Yisho she'nizra, Pirush Rashi, Yisho she'niklat azera b'mei isha, the moment that there's conception, the moment that the child, since the baby begins to be formed in the mother's stomach, afilu hi pila imay v'nimcha, even though the mother miscarried, yesh lo chelek la'asid, he has a chelek le'lam haba. And it brings from Ksubis as well, that the Pasuk says, Nivelasi Yukumun, that even Nivelas, even since the dead pieces of flesh, Kaviyachol, will come to Tchias HaMesim. The teachers also in the Folim, he brings a few other sources for that as well. There's a Yerushalmi that also talks about it, the Gemara Yerushalmi brings a Shita as well. So that's what Moshe Paskins, that there's going to be Tchias HaMesim even for a Tinuk. At Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, maybe you can argue, but that's talking about something else, about the bris, whatever. Beikam b'koymen. But Rabban Ramesh has a paisik, and that's how he paskin. So I would say we can go by that. What's the inyan of a woman stepping on a nail? Is it halachic, kabbalistic? What are the gedorim? So the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Reish Samech, Siman Reish Samech Seif Daled. The Alter Rebbe writes, Haseirif tzipernayim chasid. Someone that burns his nails after he cuts them is a chasid. Koivron tzaddik. If you bury them in the ground, then you're a tzaddik. If you're zirkon, if you throw them on the ground, you're a rosha. Why? Because maybe a woman that's pregnant will step on it and she'll miscarry. You're allowed to throw them in a base medrash and a similar place, a place where women don't really walk around. You should not be concerned. Maybe some of them will sweep it out and the nails will fall outside. Why not? Because even if she's going to step on it outside, it won't have a negative effect. They only have the negative effect if they're in the place where the person who threw them on the ground. Once they were swept away, even though a woman steps on it, it does not have effect. So that's the Gedorim. The Alter Rebbe writes it in Shulchan Aruch as halacha based on the Gemara. I saw one explanation for it, but that explanation doesn't just explain this detail. The explanation that I saw is brought down that it's a gross thing to see, and a woman that's pregnant is more sensitive. So if she's going to see something that's gross, that could cause her chas v'shalom to miscarry. But according to that, then wherever it would be the same thing. But we see the halacha is not like that. That might be part of a reason. There might be other reasons of Kabbalah I didn't find. But the Kolpanim, those are the Gedorim. If you want to see inside, like I said, Siman Reish Samach Seif Dalet.
Does this only apply for Yidden or just also for Goyim?
I don't know. Why was Igros made? Igros Kodesh. I assume that's the question. Igros Kodesh are the Rebbe's letters. So I'm trying to find. I saw brought down, but I don't have the actual sefer Chelik Yud Beis. I couldn't find. But I saw that it says in the Mavi of Chelik Yud Beis that the Rebbe writes. I mean, the Mavi, the Manichim write, but mashma the Rebbe instructed them to write this. That the Rebbe writes in the Akdama for Tanya that he's writing all the answers to all the questions. Any question you might have in Avedas Hashem, the Rebbe is writing it in Tanya. And the Rebbe is saying the reason why he's writing it is because there isn't enough time anymore for Yechidus. Baruch Hashem, Anash are it's a very, very large amount of people. There isn't enough time to answer each individual person in Yechidus. So the Rebbe says, I'm writing all the answers to all the questions individually in Tanya. So it seems like that's the kavan over here also, that the point of Igros is for people to see the Rebbe's kav, the Rebbe's shit and everything. There are many people that have a seder limud and learning Igros every day. They learn a certain amount of letters. Everybody knows of the minute that some people have, that they write letters to the Rebbe and they put it in Igros and they find answers over there. But even people that don't do that, but definitely learning the Rebbe's letters is a very important thing. You see the Rebbe's shitta, the Rebbe's kav, the way the Rebbe looks at things, the way the Rebbe tells people what to do things and so on. And I also saw a story that they say that when the Igros came out, when it started coming out, so the Rebbe asked Rabbi Simpson, or the Rebbe's maskirim, the Rebbe asked him, are people are learning the Igros, are they kachan zich in Igros? So he said that his son at the time was a Bachar in Yeshiva in Marastan, and he said, yeah, they're the Bachar, they're learning the Igros. So the Rebbe said that the Bachar, I understand, what about the younger light? Like I want all the Siddim, in other words, to be learning the letters. So the Rebbe encourages, and it's for sure Kedai, and the Pashas is to teach us the Rebbe's Shitta what to do. There are people that are going to tell you that the purpose of the Igros is because of today, after Gimel Tammuz, that since today we can't get actual answers from the Rebbe, so therefore the Rebbe prepared it from before. That's a negation that people say, could be not, I don't know. But this is the simple explanation what the Rebbe, what seems like the Rebbe instructed people to write. English. We have some English Igros in the other room. I think there's only 5 volumes as far as I know. Maybe there's more already by now. Oh, 6 already, yeah, there's 6. That's only 6, that's it.
No, there's 2 things. Those are the ones that were wrote in English originally, but there's other ones that have like they translated.
Okay, so there you go. There's ones, there's English that he wrote in English, then translated. And I'm pretty sure there's also Igros translated into original Hebrew translated.
Yeah.
So the kids, if you want, you can figure it out. There's enough going around there to find different Igros. Are you allowed to learn during Chazaras Hashatz? What about reading? So there's in the Siddur, there's a lot of small letters. Every once in a while, there are small letters with instructions. Now, some of these small letters are the Alter Rebbe, what he wrote in Siddur. The Alter Rebbe wrote a Siddur with halachas, and some of the small letters are quotes from Shulchan Aruch. It's really it's just I'm not sure who was in charge of this, but when they printed the Siddur, they printed halachas of Shulchan Aruch. So whenever you see in this Siddur small letters, it's not necessarily is it Siddur, it's a Shulchan Aruch. Alter Rebbe wrote a Siddur and Shulchan Aruch, and sometimes the halachas are different. Akapanim over here, the Alter Rebbe in the Shulchan Aruch, it's from Kuf Chav Daled. He brings over here. Shashliach tzibur chayzer the tefillah when by Chazaras Hashatz ishtakol kol lishtoi lechavin lebrachish shemevarich Hashatz. Everyone has to be quiet and have kavanah. Alanis omin. In ein test mechavin leberchaysav. If there aren't 9 people having kavanah, karev liyes berchaysav levatola. it's very possible that the brachas are brachas levatola. Ki chazaras hashatz niskano la'omra ba'asora, because there has to be 10 people focusing. V'yesh ligoir, you should be screaming at ba'anoshim shalem dim be'ez chazaras hashatz ha'imnu tachanunim. You should yell at people that learn the middle of chazaras hashatz or say tachanunim, like tehillim and stuff like that. Va'afilu imachavnim l'seif habracha lanis amin karoi, even though these people make sure to stop and answer amin at the end, lo yafa him oisim. They're not, it's a wrong thing to do. So that's what Rabbi Shulchan Aruch. But in the Piskei Teshuvos they bring over here that there's a Divrei Rameh Mipano, one of the Achreinim of Teshuvos, he writes, he's melamed schus on those that are not so careful and learn by Chazaras Hashatz. He says, Raiva oilam ein nizharim. Most people are not as careful. And he brings over here, he says, V'chol gai gavne ikam b'shomanach lem li Yisrael. So Kitzer, he's a little bit melamed schus on it. So kaponim lachatchila definitely not to. But Peil Mamish, a lot of people are not too careful. My father told me when he was a bacher by the Rebbe, they saw the Rebbe would once in a while also open up a chumash or something in the middle of Chazaras Hashatz.
In those cases, I wasn't davening the minyan, no?
No. When he was davening, when the Rebbe wouldn't have a minyan, the Rebbe wouldn't come out.
What?
When the Rebbe wouldn't...
Sometimes that would come out.
No, not what I'm talking about. The Rebbe would daven with the minyan and then he would look at Chazaras Hashatz and the Sefer. But the Kabbalim is lachatchila is not the wrong thing. Obviously, compared to the Rebbe, not compared to the Rebbe, it's a whole discussion. But Kabbalim is that you see the Rameh Mipano brings lachatchila that it's obviously better not to, but you can be melamed schus on those people that are doing it.
But also 770, there's a lot of people there, so like...
No, but he writes in Shulchan Aruch, I didn't read the whole thing. He says, every person should consider himself to be one of the 9, not to say there's other people besides.
Yeah, but like, 770, there's a lot of people there.
That's not what he says. I don't know. Different question.